Hey, greetings, everybody. Welcome to the One True Divine Feminine and Psychic Investigations Tarot. We're a place where we spread light and love and angelic vibes across the universe. We also get down and dirty sometimes to solve crimes because there's a whole bunch of them to be solved, right? And yeah, and we also look at astrology. And today we're going to look again at the October 28th eclipse coming up. But before I delve in, I just want to send light and love to decent, loving, kind Christians who have been praying for me, lawyers who have been helping, um, good people who have been solving cases, people that walk the walk and talk the talk, and how beautiful a thing that is, and how grateful I am for that kind of energy in the world, right? And at the same time, I'm also going to send light and love out to decent, loving, kind Catholics. I have many Catholic friends. A Catholic friend's probably going to inherit whatever I have when I leave this earth. And it's really all about decency and, trying to be a good person. And when people uphold the things that they believe in and, bring that light and beauty to the earth, well, the world's enhanced, right? So, anyhow, we are going to delve into the astrology of the 28th eclipse. I know I do this early, but I always have liked to look at the eclipse energy way in advance. One, so that you can see what's coming, so you can try to harness the energy well and make wise choices. And also sometimes to even line yourself up for the coming energy, because the energy is what the energy is, right? Now, the potency of this reading needs to be reviewed as this eclipse gets closer. So I can put it out into the universe now so you have time to think about it. But in reality, if you want to see if things pan out to be true or if things come to light, you need to revisit the last three readings as we approach the October 28th lunar eclipse. And things don't always happen on the exact day. Sometimes they'll happen even a month ahead or a month after. But as you get closer to that actual day, it becomes like an energy vortex and it draws things in. And very often it will happen within 2 or 3 days. But it's not an exact thing, but just, pay attention as things begin to unfold. So this is the last part of this series for the lunar eclipse. And then I'm going to look because I'm sure there was a new moon eclipse I should have done first because they always come in pairs. But for whatever reason, the lunar eclipse caught my attention. So we're going to go through the last bit of it, and we're going to start with the fact that during this October 28th eclipse, Jupiter is going to be in Taurus, and it's going to be riding very close to the moon and Uranus in the fifth house of the US's chart at the time. Now, this same energy will be opposing Mercury, the planet of communications, in the 11th house. And this means that business negotiations could pop up suddenly and turn out quite well, so long as you enter into the deal in a grounded fashion. And I say that because Mercury will be in Scorpio. So you need to think out the details very carefully because the big picture could feel exciting. To pull this off well, you need to dig into the minutia as well as the underlying motivations. So I get a message for Gugu, Auntie Gugu. If the deal comes forth, I want to know all the backhand deals and what you're hiding and all the names you're protecting and all of that, right? Because I see ahead. Just saying. So, and I am discerning, and I will be looking and asking questions. All right, so what's prompting the offer? Okay. Are there hidden agendas behind the deal? What are you hiding? I ask this because, again, Mercury's in Scorpio. So what's being cloaked behind the scenes? Don't let dark emotions or greed cloud your discernment just to close a business deal that may or may not be underhanded. And don't bite off more than you can chew. Okay, that's the message. Now, Saturn is starting a new journey at 0 degrees of Pisces during this eclipse. Also, Saturn is about rules, authority, law enforcement, working hard, and taking your time to build things up in a structured manner. Pisces has a lot to do with emotions, creativity, and how we connect with God. Pisces also rules over voyeurs, clairvoyance, drugs, hermitages, imprisonment, intoxication, investigators, Judas Iscariot, occults, penitentiaries, secret societies, self-undoing, things behind the veil, endings, prison guards, religious delusions, and treachery. Okay, so a lot of things are governed by Pisces, and that's just a small smattering. So when we combine Saturn with Pisces, the lessons that will be learned are going to be regarding all of the matters that the Piscean energies touch. And this is the beginning of a new karmic cycle because it's at that 0 degree phase. So these lessons are going to last for the next 2.5 years until Pisces moves into Aries. And then the flavor of the lessons are going to be completely different. Now, Saturn will be trining the sun in the 11th house, which equates to law enforcement peering into all of these matters. People who cooperate with the authorities to unearth secrets regarding civic organizations, secret societies, and members of Congress will fare better. A trine is an easy flow of information if you use it well. Those who remain stuck in their South Node in Libran partnerships that no longer resonate could get caught up in the fray. Come clean is the message. That's important because the nation's sun will be squaring the ascendant, which is the rising sign on the country's chart. And that indicates that some key players in this instant are not what they present to the world. In other words, they are wearing masks. And during this eclipse, some of these masks are going to start falling off. Now, for others, they will try ever harder to grasp onto their masks to hide what they've done. But you certainly get the energy that there are some snakes hidden behind the mask, and that is going to get revealed. Now, Saturn opposes Black Moon Lilith at this time as well. And Lilith is an asteroid associated with the darker side of the feminine force. Lilith is linked to everything behind the veil, and you can see this woman is pulling the veil back. She has arcane knowledge, intuition, and psychic abilities. Because of the knowledge she secretly divines, some people will consider her a dangerous force. I suspect that people in authority, which is represented by Saturn, will find themselves wondering how to handle the information being provided by those who see behind the veil. Right? Because you don't know whether you can trust it or not, but the proof is in the pudding. So revisit all this around the time. I'd open it up again at least a week ahead. My suggestion is that you start digging for secrets in all 11th house matters. Fully investigate the use of the pedophile picture to determine who is profiting from its use. By doing so, you're going to unravel a string of dirty cops, lawyers, and judges, and perhaps even a secret society as well, because we have many people in this chain of events that are all hiding behind these masks, pretending to be one thing when actually they're working maybe for a mob or crime syndicate. So it's critical that you start to peer behind the mask and find out who's real and who's fake. You guys thought this was going to be easy, right? Thought I was dumb. Oh, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Let me tell you, you should be afraid. Okay. Venus will also be gracing the 9th house of the U.S.'s chart at 17 degrees of Virgo. Virgo is a symbol that seeks perfection, that wants us to better ourselves, right? To find a way to be of service, to foster health. And at this particular degree point, Mindfire, that website I like so much, has this to say. It claims that there is going to be a volcanic eruption. Energies buried deeply in the subconscious will surface. Expect a catharsis to erupt as that which is hidden gets exposed. Now, remember, the purpose of this revealing is to help bring various organizations to clean up their corruption. So we're going to get this, big fiery catharsis happening. And that's so that they clean up their corruption and they find a better, more decent way to be of service, especially in regards to women. And since my story is very deeply embroiled in the history of my country at this point, I suspect actually at this time that I am the Venusian figure showing up in the 9th house of the nation's chart. And yes, that does happen. And there will be other people involved in this that will be showing up on under symbols as well. So this is going to be very important. Now, the self-correcting messages delivered by this feminine planet deal with 9th house matters because the Venus energy is sitting in the 9th house. So this is going to deal with arbitration, attorneys, business losses, experts, faith, religions, foreign countries, long distance travel, immigration, higher learning, international commerce, intuition, judges, juries, lawyers, legacies, metaphysics, politics, prayers, publishing, long journeys, visions, and virtue. Again, I'm just coming down to what does the 9th house mean? Okay, so these are the messages that are going to be delivered. And this is why you're going to open up this whole thing when this big court case comes about, and I guarantee it's going to, around the 28th eclipse. Okay, and other things are going to come out about what's happening in the halls of Congress too. Now, the Venusian message, the message I'm delivering in the courts is this: were your actions taken out of loving kindness to help perfect where we are regarding matters of faith, or were they to cause a deluge, an emotional disaster in someone's life, as you can see here? Or were they a form of retribution because a woman challenged the patriarchy? Virgo asks us to seek perfection. Other 9th house Virgoan issues will also be addressed, such as chastity. And of course, that one, bothers me because so much was done to completely filthitize me in the courts, and none of it was true. Critics, details, file clerks, humane societies, law officials who are doing their job to standards, inspectors, nurses, officials, policemen, the reproductive system, and servants, as well as what we do for work. And of course, the goal is to seek betterment and to find a way to be of service. And improvement is the key issue with all things Virgo. Virgo looks for perfect systems, the way of bettering things, right? In all matters, ourselves, our government institutions, our courts, everything, right? Now, and again, I really encourage you to open this back up as this comes around and then just see if there's proof in the pudding, okay? The actual degree for this Venus is 17 degrees, 56 minutes of Virgo. So when it's that close, I sometimes jump ahead. In this case, I did. I went to the 18-degree mark in the Mindfire website that Dane Rudger has to discern what's going on. And his brief answer is that this is basically a Ouija board. The longer version is, in his explanation, it's the ability to contact deeper recesses of the unconscious mind while tapping into sensitivities and omens. This is very much a 9th house matter because the 9th house has all to do with mind expansion and tapping in. And obviously, I do astrology for divination purposes. I am showing up in the nation's chart as Venus during this time. the divine feminine figure. I am asking for justice in the courts, which is also a ninth house matter. This again will be playing itself out around October 28th during the lunar eclipse, which will reveal much to do with the issues of women because the moon represents women. Okay, so here I am as the divine feminine, and I like to tap in, right? I like to see ahead, and some of you know that I have done this very successfully with some of my things because I solved, I believe, one of my own crimes using this spiritual gift. Okay, now at the time that this is going down, Venus is going to be trining Uranus, and Uranus is that maverick genius, out of the box, crazy kind of energy, and a trine means an easy flow of information. So the knowledge imparted will bring forth revelations, shakeups, and epiphanies that stir us out of complacency. This will impact the things we love, and I say that because Uranus is in Taurus, and Taurus represents the things we love and have and want, and that we tightly grasp onto. Okay, now and you can't make this up, right? Taurus rules over banks, bonds, bookkeepers, investments, financiers, Florida, Georgia, money, and the places it's kept, possessions, precious stones, treasures, treasury. As the bull, it also has a very determined bull-like nature. Taurus represents I have, and I want. And when it wants the finest of things. So the flow of information out of the ninth house is going to impact the bull. So somehow the banking system and cryptocurrency could be involved. I say that because Uranus has everything to do with the internet, and cryptocurrency is used to do nefarious, illegal things. And since I've already picked up on this, I would be super mindful of people trying to use cryptocurrency once again to jimmy elections or to conduct other crimes. We know this illegal currency has been used in the past to tilt elections. So please watch very carefully over former victims who were used in this scam, because obviously we have government people who are trying to burn victims who know too much to the stake. So I appreciate watching over. I know nothing about cryptocurrency, and nor do I ever want to, but it's causing a lot of problems worldwide because people are trying to get around the normal banking system. Okay, this is my creativity card. Okay. Information that is delivered by this Venusian woman in the ninth house will also impact the welfare of children because it's trining the fifth house. And that has everything to do with romances, hobbies, children, and creativity. So there's also a message herein for the courts that others should not be vampiring your creative efforts to rob you of your talents and skills. And Virgo governs crafts, abilities, and our skill set. The mirror witchcraft spell is out of control. They're trying to vampire people's essences and make it their own, all for profit, because the goal is to keep them from working so that they can leave you a bloodless skin on the ground while they suck you dry. The purpose of this is to profit off of you while stepping into your skin suit, basically, to steal your creativity and destiny. This is also a message to say we have entered the era where we need serious witchcraft laws. And I'm so sorry to say that, but it seems to be true. And the resultant punishments for spell work. Also, deals with anti-goo-goo are no good if they don't work it out, so people are not shadow banned and that they actually get paid for their work. And furthermore, with Mercury and Scorpio, I want to know what they're hiding, like all the people who were on the Pay Report show, for example. Okay. Extreme corruption seems to be causing enormous pay and equity issues right now with certain companies. And a deal that doesn't work for pay is no deal at all. Just saying. And it might be easier just to sue, correct? I mean, I'm just saying. And I'm not signing or agreeing to anything unless my name is involved. So don't anybody take it upon yourself to make decisions for me, because I'm a big girl and I like to be in charge of my own life, right? Now, Neptune, meanwhile, is at 25 degrees Pisces during this eclipse. And we stated this the other day. There is a Mindfire Sabian symbol, and you cannot make this up. These are not my thoughts nor opinions. This is just a reading of energy off of the Sabian symbol Mindfire website by Dane Rudyard. He claims a religious organization succeeds in overcoming the corrupting influence of perverted practices and materialized ideals. Again, these are not my words or thoughts. This is just an energy read. And he also makes it very clear that we have the power of the soul to intervene in the personal life, and intervening in matters can induce a catharsis that brings about positive change. Now, if you're curious about this site, I'd highly encourage you to look it up. You can go to your Google Assistant. If you read into it, Mindfire, Sabian symbols, 25 degrees of Pisces, and scroll down, you'll see the whole thing. So you'll know these are not my opinions, but something that I'm picking up on that particular astrological point. Now, Neptune in the third, and this is like one of my tapped in cards, because you can see this guy is like connecting to the energy of the universe, right? Through the various waves of energy. Okay. So Neptune in the third gives us the chance to connect to God and the collective consciousness, should we elect to do so. I believe the messages that should be making its way through the courts right now, along with our own souls, is that you should not sex traffic a woman because you disagree with her philosophy on life, or because you are angered that she stopped a coup in progress. Amongst many other reasons, why did I halt this apparent takeover? Well, there were a million reasons, but one of them was because feminists were just one of the many groups that were being witch hunted. Dominance, control, and subjugation of the divine feminine is definitely a worldwide issue right now. And here's what I have to say to that. If you sought out ways to uphold women instead of subjugating them, your life would go more smoothly. When these energies are left unchecked, terrible things can happen. And women get harmed all over the world. Brutality occurs. There's a loss of rights. Stoning happens in some places. There are forced serial marriages, often of very young women to very old men. You become, in essence, bride number 12. And they cut off certain body parts. Thus far, in America, we are using the tactic of trying to shame women to death with sex trafficking and for going against the grain. And sadly, we have filthy judges, lawyers, and government officials that were helping in the process. Okay. And the goal is, of course, to humiliate women to death for standing up. And I guess keeping them humiliated, sick, and on the floor, harmed to the point that you think they can't fight back, was the issue. And here's my message to you. Is that clear enough? I hope it is. That's pretty straightforward, isn't it now? Again, what kind of sick people do that to a woman? I mean, you'd have to be absolutely demonically possessed to do something like that. And also, what kind of people would want to keep a person sick and on the ground, and so that she couldn't self-actualize? That's demonically inspired. And it's also one of the most undemocratic, backwards, and crude things I've ever heard. What kind of people want to subjugate others like slaves so they can never stand up, never regain a sense of themselves, while you keep them sick on the ground, trapped in the house, using witchcraft spells that they may have learned in some bizarre organization so that they can rob and feed off of a woman like a sucking vampire. This is what's at stake. Basically turning the divine feminine upside down, right? So for the men who are involved, I have a question for you. Shouldn't real men pay their own damn bills? Find a little bit of self-respect, would you? Quit acting like monsters, okay? Honestly, quit acting like monsters. Now, for the women who were involved and participated, there's like double shame on your head, really. I mean, truly, because women attacking women in this manner reminds me of the movie Monster that features Charlize Theron and Christina Ricci. And in that film, the very darkest sociopathic energy of women was literally enough to curdle my blood because their joint ruthlessness, emotional manipulations, and lack of empathy was shocking to behold. And here you can see there is a powerful woman here, but she's got a snake wrapped around her. And in this case, I'm taking it as an evil sign. And she's using all of the power she has to put just filth into the emotional waters of other women. Okay, that's unforgivable, really. And, you know, neither my husband's heart nor my heart actually works properly anymore due to the abuse. But the real question is, should this be happening to women? Because she stood up to a coup wherein women's rights were about to be beaten to a pulp. Did that deserve, making her look like a viper or a snake or a filthy prostitute, by taking a nasty tape, a crotch tape, and pointing out my family, trying to make us look like everything we are not? I mean, you tried to attach a hard snake to my life, right? And you did this all for money. So, what kind of sickness is this? Secret society miscreants who participated in the theft and the absolute filthatization of my womanhood gained profitably from their abuse. Okay. Retribution was delivered by sharing my most intimate body parts with the world. Now, can you help me to see the hand of God in this filth? Or do you really just see the serpent, the snake, the filthatization of women because you could, right? Somehow this feels really no better than the surgeries that sickos perform on women in some parts of the Middle East. And what is the common thread linking all of this abuse, right? It's like there's a group effort almost all around the world, everybody flocking together to, affect the collective consciousness and to drag women down. But in reality, if you have any conscience at all, you would be focusing on lifting women up and then fixing the problem. Okay? Now, evidently, I am the female energy, the Virgo female energy in the 9th house of laws, courts, and religion. And I am bringing forth this dark night of the soul message, okay? Because worldwide, divine feminines are calling for change. You can either make the lesson stick by improving where you are and understanding perception and how this looks to the world, and also how you're treating women, or you can expect worse things to come. Because though we would rather resolve things peacefully and working together across the table, we do know how to fight. So meanwhile, as you examine your consciousness and how you are treating women and women's rights in America, um, I hope that we can come together and create territories so that women can be safe from perverts, from abuses of power, and from filthatization by various organizations and parties, whoever they may be. Okay, I know this is going to be a hard lesson for a lot of people. However, where we are is unacceptable. And I'm showing in the ninth house of our nation's chart for a reason. And that's my message to you. All right, bring this back out around October 28th and see what resonates. And God bless. And thank you all to good, kind, loving, decent Christians of all sorts who are going to help raise up the vibe, knowing that we're in a place that simply cannot exist. All right, peace and blessings.